Chapter 6. Finishing high school and the Army. These are fun times for me. I went through a lot and I worked my butt off towards the end of high school, and joining the military really worked my butt off. Super senior. So, like I said in the previous chapter, I had to be a super senior. Super senior means graduating 5 years instead of 4. I did this because the school missed something. I used to blame them, but it was just a mistake. And they caught it a little too late. So I had to go an extra year. I took Earth Science in 12th grade English. I had 2 classes, which was great because it made me concentrate on those 2 classes. I aced through Earth Science, and I struggled with 12th grade English, but I passed. I passed with a high B. I had hope. I wrote my thesis. It was a okay thesis. It wasn't great, but for me and my work, it was awesome. It was me trying my very best, and the teacher knew that. Teachers in that school knew my potential and wouldn't give up on me. I thank them all. All of them were great. Never had a bad teacher who hated me or gave me bad grades because they didn't like me. No, all of them see my potential and pushed. The school did have mistakes almost every year. I was in school. Looking at it now, it's funny. Looking at it then, it was kind of nerve-wracking. My first day of school, freshman year, I had to go to West High School to get my transcripts to bring them to East High School. When I was 8th grade and I took the orientation for high school, they had me at East High School. Then I went to East High School and they said they had me at West High School. So I had to figure that out. That was my first couple days. The next year they had me in AP classes for some reason. So I had spent the first day of that year, or 10th grade, in the guidance office. The next couple years went by good. Then I had to be a super senior. I graduated the same year the principal had retired. It was his last year. They had announced my name and they said graduating with honors. And I wasn't. I was just getting a local diploma. So there's that. But it was good. I just went to school first and second period. I would stay after and use the computers to type up anything I needed for English. I would walk home and then I would wait for everybody else to get out of school because everybody at that time I hung out with was a grade behind me because everybody who graduated either before me was my class. I graduated 2004. It's a good number, even number. I have a thing with even numbers. I don't like odd numbers. It was fun to graduate. My great grandparents were there to see me graduate, and it was awesome to have them sit up there and watch me graduate. To have my parents sit up there and watch me graduate. To have my sisters watch me graduate. My dad did throw me a graduation party. It was fun. Didn't have a girl at the time, so kind of a bummer. My buddy had his girl at the time, and my sister was dating Jeffrey, one of my friends. So at the end of the night, I was surrounded by couples, which was fine. I still had fun. It still didn't overshadow the fact that I accomplished something that I didn't think I was going to, that I've been told several times I was going to drop out before then. I was the first one in my family, between my sisters, to graduate. It just felt good. I tried I tried to go to college. Nobody warned me about the freedom. So I was like, oh, I don't have to go. They're not going to punish me for not going. I'm going to sleep in today. That, and I only did my grants. Didn't know about FAFSA or any of the other stuff. So I couldn't buy books. I ended up getting kicked out of the accounting class, which I had a 75. I had a 75 in the accounting class, not having a book. And from there, it was just, I was being kicked out because I didn't have the books. So I sat around, I was like, what am I going to do? I want to make money. I want to do something with my life. Like I said in the previous chapter, my buddy had gone to the military. He'd come out. So I gave it a shot. My great grandfather was Army. My father was Navy. So it's in my blood. So I was awesome at following directions. And I knew that if my buddy can do boot camp, I could do boot camp in my sleep. So I called the recruiter. I met with the recruiter. We talked about it. It was $10,000. That was fantastic. That was more money. And I was going to make money while in boot camp in AIT. So I joined up. I was nervous. I left in March 28th, 2005 for boot camp. I did my boot camp in South Carolina and then my AIT in Virginia. For those who don't know, AIT is Advanced Individual Training. That is when you learn your MOS, your job. Boot camp was a whole new experience. I got there, I just had a backpack with my stuff in it. I had to put all my stuff in it, change over to the military uniform. We had a holdover for a week. That's when we got all of our gear, our PT, physical training clothes, our ACUs, our boots. That's when we learned the basics about what was going to happen at boot camp. So me and a bunch of guys got together and decided that we wanted to see how hard it was going to be. So we asked the sergeant who was in charge to smoke us. And he shut the door and we made the walls sweat. And we're like, oh, okay, this is what it is. All right, we got this. The day came where we all got in the bus with our duffel bags. And we had to put our heads down while the drill sergeant was screaming. We get there, and he's screaming for everybody to get off the bus. We had to take all the duffel bags and line them up. Then we had to find ours. Good thing mine had my initials on it. I still don't know how I lucked out and found mine. There was a bunch of people there. So we found them, and then we ended up having to go to our barracks and standing out in formation in our squad. Like, all this was exhilarating. It was exciting, being yelled at and having to rush. I was like, I got this. We went in our assigned rooms. I ended up on the top bunk. Put up our wall locker. Every time we had downtime, I shined my boots. We ended up getting our M16s. We had them everywhere except for at night. They were locked up and somebody was on guard. We always had people on guard. We had shifts. I lucked out with my last name being P and so many people being there that I only had to do it twice. Lights out was at let's see, 1100. No, not 1100. 2100. And then wake up was at 0400. We would wake up, put on our PT gear, go out front, do our physical training, then run, then come back and eat, and then go back to the barracks, we had time to shower and shave and all that good stuff. I usually shave while putting on before going out physical training. I had to shave twice a day with those stupid disposable razors because my stuff didn't want to stay gone. Then we had our test, which was a 2 mile run, push-ups and sit-ups. I did good at those. I was getting in great physical shape. My father had given me the key advice before I went in. He said, volunteer for everything. So I did. I didn't go to church because when you stayed at the barracks, you cleaned and polished your shoes or whatever. Like, it was downtime for everybody. So, and yes, cleaning would be downtime for all the other stuff we did. So I volunteered for everything else. So I was always there to set up the courses. I was always there for cleanup. Like it got me in good graces, and it got me bonded with a set of guys who always volunteered. Some of the physical training we did was fantastic. We had to climb a wall. We had to rappel down. That was fun. We had to zip line. Oh man, that was scary. I'm terrified of heights. So we get up the wall, and then he hooks me up, and he said, I'm going to count, and then he just pushed me. Because most people tense up. But if you get pushed out of nowhere, then we had to climb up. We had a 4-man team. We had to climb upward. In every layer, the area got smaller. So you really had to help your buddy up. I did that. I got that out of the way. I was terrified, but I did it. One of the other courses I liked was the bayonet course. We put a bayonet at the end of your M16, and you had to run this obstacle course. And yes, at one of the spots, I had that barbed wire on the ground where you had to low crawl underneath it. One of the other things that stuck out was towards the end of boot camp, we had to spend a week out in the woods doing training out there. We had to march out there first, and it was like a 14-mile march. That had me chafing like a mother, and I had what they called the SAW. I had a LMG, light machine gun. I loved that thing. That thing was so cool, and we got to shoot blanks. We had, I think they call it miles gear. It's censored if you would be shot or not. We wore that most of the time out there in training. We did some. This was in 2005, so the Iraq War was big. We spent time training, doing door-to-door. I had the SAW, so we had breached through the woods. I had sat at the end of the woods, laid prone, had this big old thing aimed at the house. That was cool while they charged in. That was the funnest part about AIT was doing urban combat. Like the SWAT team. I made it through that. We had won the best squad. We had won a medal for best squad. I had bought a leather jacket. I had bought a ring. I still have the ring. And then we graduated. My parents showed up. I had missed out on spending a lot of time with them because I went to the store to buy myself a cell phone. Then I got to see them. It was great. A little piece of home. They got to watch me graduate from boot camp. Oh man, that was so fun. I graduated from boot camp, got on the bus, went to AIT. AIT, I went to Fort Jackson and Fort Leisure, or Fort Lee. We called it Fort Jackson, Relaxing Jackson, and Fort Lee, we called it Fort Leisure. No, I went for my MOS was 92 Alpha, Automated Logistics Specialist, to the warehouse. That was fun. It was a long training, so we would still do PT. We would still um, get our uniform on, and we still do stuff. But it was AIT is more focused on what your MOS is. So I got to go to school every day. We also had at the beginning what we call the 8 mile trailers. That's where the guys were at because we didn't have barracks big enough to fit all of us. And then towards the end of it, we got to move into barracks. We lived at first with, there were 2 men, and each 2 rooms shared a bathroom, like in between the rooms. They were pretty nice. Then, like the last 2 weeks, we had more people coming in, so we had to change around the beds and stuff, and it became a three-man. But we were a united front. We got our first pass, was off base pass, off post pass, just one day, and it was in civilian clothes, and we had to lay our civilian clothes out. So I had bought a pair of jean shorts that were LA Lakers and a really cool button-up shirt, and I had a Superman chain that I still have to this day. Or no, New York Yankees chain. That's what it was. So our drill sergeant was a female. Oh, she was such a badass. She drove a crotch rocket. I was afraid of this woman, but she was. If you were in her good graces, she had your back. She loved her squad. She loved her. Oh man, this woman was amazing. I had pictures of, I think I still do, of me standing next to her. Like this woman was, again, amazing. So she gets to mine to inspect my clothes, and I donned the nickname 25 Cent from there on out. I wasn't quite 50 Cent, I was 25 Cent. Like that's how cool she was. So from there on out, I was 25 Cent. And then after that, we got overnight. We would go out and all pitch in for a cheap motel, and we would buy a crap ton of alcohol, get drunk, fall asleep, wake up in the morning, silver up, and go back to the unit. I had a blast. We also had amateur boxing in the back. I boxed one time. I've never boxed in my entire life. And I boxed against one of my buddies who happened to be an amateur boxer, who I had straight up just whooped my ass. But he showed me love afterwards because never boxed in my day in my life. I still know what I was doing. I was guarding my face, and the punches I did land shook him. So then we had so much fun. We had a week training just like we did in boot camp, but this time it was different. It was intense, and this was supposed to like emanate the desert. That was fun. We got to breach, go SWAT style all week, and then graduation. I felt so relieved. I had made the mistake of only grabbing my one bag. I left my bag that had my Class A's in them. Those are our dress uniform. My jacket, my leather jacket, cost like $150. It still saddens me to this day. But I had called a cab, and my dad at a convenience store type thing. It was a grocery store. It was called Food Mire or Food Lion. That's what it was. Food Lion. That's what it is down south. I jumped in the back of the truck. I had slept. It was awesome. Coming back home, I remember the moment I seen the Welcome to New York sign. I bawled. It felt really good to be home. I had moved in with my sister. She had got her own 2 bedroom. The baby was living, Haley, and with her. So I had my own bedroom. They had it all set up. She had all my stuff. It was awesome. I bought the PlayStation 2. I bought the Madden that came out that year. Maybe it was a PlayStation 3 by that time. No, PlayStation 2. Moving back felt weird, and everything had changed. My sister was getting married. I was at her wedding. She was, she had a baby. She was pregnant. She didn't have the baby until after she got married. My friends had kind of slowly separated. I did come home and hang out with my best friend, and then everything started to slowly get back together. I started hanging out with my buddy Chris again. I started hanging out with Dean. It just, I don't know, things had changed, and it was a new feeling, and it was a new chapter in my life being back at home. It felt good. I had my mom's home cooking again. I stopped doing the training and the workout. Before I went in, I weighed 145 pounds. I gained 20 pounds of muscle. I weighed 165 by the time I got home. I was reserved, so I went to reserve every weekend, one weekend out of the month and 2 weeks out of the year. And it was just a brand new chapter in my life. And thank you for listening to Chapter 6.